Greetings. Welcome to Tanesia's Locks Beauty Tips and Potpourri. Hello, beautiful, beautiful butterflies and perfect people. Today I'm talking to you about the pros and cons of Sisterlocks. I want to give 5 pros and 5 cons. Very simple things that when I think about my lock journey, I can easily raise my hand up if I'm sure about for the positives, and then the same with those things that are a little bit more challenging or things that are caveats, things you want to be aware of. I want to just go down a short list of 5 items with those as well, and they're the first few things that come to my mind in both categories. Now, first thing I want to talk about is freedom from the tyranny of hair enslavement. Also, stick around to the end of the video for those of you who like the oracle card pulls, because I'm going to pull a few oracle cards. But freedom from the tyranny of hair enslavement. Our hair over the course of years, decades, lifetimes has been a source of beauty. It has been our crown. I mean, in fact, during certain periods after slavery in Louisiana, they passed laws against our hairstyles because they were so beautiful that the Caucasian women were jealous that their men were looking at our hair. So our hair has always been our crown. But even then, just as I digress, when we began to wear hats, we did such a job with hats that became problematic as well. But our hair has been a source of beauty. It's been a source of pride. It's been a source of self-esteem. It's also been a way to commune. When you would sit out on the steps and get your hair braided and conversations would take place, sisters would bond, healing circles would form. I mean, it just goes really deep. But as things have become more commercial, as we as a people have also had to bear the brunt of historical and systemic discrimination and racism, our hair has become something that began to, I guess, become a preoccupation with us that wasn't always healthy. And that's not a blanket statement, because that's not everybody, but a preoccupation with needing to look a certain way, with spending an inordinate amount of time, not always feeling as though some of us had the freedom to do what we wanted to do with our hair, and we needed to look a certain way going into the workplace and so forth and so on. We know we could talk about that all day, and there's a variety of different views. But when I look at, and I'm a person that doesn't spend a lot of time getting dressed in the morning. I don't spend time on my face. I put a little concealer under my eyes, some lipstick on, some mascara, and I go. Same thing with my clothes and everything. I don't like to spend a lot of time in the mirror. I never had, even without the locks. I wasn't a person that went to the hair salon very much. I can count maybe 3, maybe 4 times I've gone to the hair salon in my life. So now going to a loctician on a regular basis is quite different, but I'm going for different reasons, and I have a different level of pride in my hair, so the whole idea of doing that is different. But coming from a paradigm where I didn't spend an exorbitant amount of money on my hair, but I did use products, I did relax my own hair, I had to maintain it. I had to figure out what I was going to do with it every morning I awakened. I had to be conscious. I remember when I was in high school, I was preoccupied with hair and I was dyeing it a lot, but there was a lot of humidity in New Jersey. So my hairstyle was predicated upon what the level of humidity was, because I walked to school. So there would be some days I would leave the house, and by the time I got to the end of the block, my hair was finished. You don't have that. That's the end of your the being enslaved to your hair or the weather or anything else that you may decide to do. You no longer have to worry about that. I haven't carried an umbrella in 8, 9, 10 years. I don't worry about swimming. Now, if I swim, I need to place my hair up on top of my head because it's so long. And the way my hair is up until more recently is still swelled. And so I still was braiding and banding, although I probably haven't done it now in several months to over a year. Really, when my hair gets wet, it gets really heavy. So for me, having this length, and then also being concerned about the extra weight that the wetness will put on my hair, I have to be careful. But for the most part, it's a carefree hairstyle. It is a wake up every morning and be beautiful hairstyle. It is never have another bad day hairstyle. And so this is all wonderful stuff. Now, the tyranny of hair enslavement means you're not spending an exorbitant amount of money on your hair. You're not preoccupied with your hair. Some women when they go to bed, or they have a lover, they're concerned about how they look. Some women want to look beautiful in bed. They want to look beautiful before they go to bed. They want to create the illusion when they wake up. If that's your thing and that's what you do, then this is a perfect hairstyle for you, because it's really low maintenance in the ways that really matter when you compare it to what you have to do every day for another hairstyle. Now, is it totally maintenance free? No, and I'll get to that in a moment. The other thing is, I'm going to say that this is a small investment. And the reason why I say it's a small investment, and that goes against convention and what most people will feel, because you consider the cost of getting your install, and then you consider the every 2 or 3 monthly cycles of hair retightnings. Even still, with that cost, the associated cost of maintenance, I find that if you're someone that goes to the salons, if you're someone that wears a wig, if you're someone that does regular protective styles, if you're someone that does hair weaves and buys human hair, flat out, it's definitely, you're going to save more money long term with this, in terms of products, in terms of paying someone to do it, in terms of actually having to buy the factory goods. But also for me, in terms of the investment, even if you're not doing that, for me, it's worth it. I count the value of healthy hair, not getting burns. I used to burn myself with the curling iron all the time. A couple of times I died and relaxed in high school, lost a lot of hair. I've had my trial and tribulations with hair over the years, and I've learned a lot. So for me, it's worth the cost. I feel it's a small investment, not just in monetarily terms, but in terms of the benefits. So the benefits to me outweigh the inconveniences. So when I say it's a small investment, to me it's a small price to pay for having the freedom from hair and the tyranny of hair enslavement. It is nothing to spend $140 or $150 or even $200 for retightening every 2 to 3 months. You guys know I'm right between 10 and 11 weeks on my retightenings for many years now. To spend that, to me, that equates to roughly less than $50 a month. Heck, how many of you stop past Chick-fil-A once or twice a week, or you're doing other things that do not ingratiate you, that do not give you a sense of pride, that have no value beyond the way your body consumes it immediately? Or you're spending money on consumables like clothes and other unnecessary items, technology and everything else. If you can spend the money on that, you can spend the money on yourself to increase your ability to be more natural, to be more in love with yourself, to experience the abundance of hair growth and so many other benefits to having the locks, whether they're Sisterlocks or Microlocks. To me, it's a very small investment. Even with what people are paying for installments today, I would still say that it is worth it, and it is worth it as a style. Again, whether it's Sisterlocks or Microlocks is irrelevant, because to me right now, you can't see my grid, and because of the way I wear my hair most of the time, and you already know, I don't like you being able to see my grid. Okay, now you can see it under here because I just finished the retightening last night, so you can see it here. The retightening here has been about a week or two, and you guys know I have a side that's a little thinner here than over on this side, but I have been using the Marigold Hair Growth Serum, albeit a little sporadically, maybe 2-3 times a week. I'm trying to get to every day, and I'm getting peach fuzz in this area. So my retightening this last time is the first time that I didn't look as much like a plucked chicken the way I normally look. So kudos to I Am Melanin Magic, giving myself a plug. But anyway, so to me, it's a very small investment to pay. Now, because it is an investment, you need to recognize that there's no investment that you have where you don't have to mine your posts and you don't have to watch the market to make sure that you're getting what you're paying for. So it's not totally carefree. When I say carefree, I'm talking about as it compares to what you may be used to already with your hair. Even natural styles require a lot of maintenance, meaning froze and twists. Even though this is a natural style in the sense that most people consider what the word natural means, we generally are talking about no chemicals, no straightening. Not so much the kind of style, but when I had the twists and my hair was natural before I transitioned to the locks, because remember, my hair came out. I had decent length hair, and I did the color, and then I had the henna first. At that time, I was a little ignorant about what henna really is, and the chemical aspect of henna, even though we consider it natural, and it is. But just like essential oils, there are caveats that you have to take and be aware of. Just because something comes from nature doesn't mean that it is harmless. So I then put a chemical treatment on top of the henna about 5, 6, 7 weeks later, and I began to lose my hair in large amounts. So rather than experience the trauma that I was experiencing every time I combed my hair, I just cut it, and it was about this short. So I started from this, and I was twisting a lot, and I was dealing with what was it like to have natural hair, and I felt like it was a good time not to go back to chemicals. But I hadn't done natural hair, hadn't had natural hair since I was probably in middle school or late elementary school. So I was out of touch with what everything required, and my hair sweat out a lot. So each time I would do my hair, it would just draw up, or I was still trying to straighten it and curl it. You know, straighten it a little and then curl it, and then I do that upstairs in the bathroom, and by the time I got downstairs, my hair was like this. So needless to say, I was like, okay, this is not going to work. I need to find another way. But I didn't want to go back to relaxers. So that's when I chose this style. So to me, yes, it is an investment in the sense that it's worth it. I don't care what you're paying. It's worth it because you can mitigate the payment so to where it's not so uncomfortable. You can put money aside over a monthly basis, and you can easily get to $700 or $800, or even $1,000 or $1,500 if that's what your loctician is starting at. You can also go to a place and get them installed for a lot less, and then come back and find someone to maintain them. So you do have options with that. You can also do microlocks, which are becoming increasingly expensive, and you can understand why, because essentially it's the same thing. The only difference will be the grid, and if you're paying someone for a certain type of grid, then they're still spending a lot of time doing your hair. It's still worth it. Okay. Number 3, the abundant hair growth. Because you are not competing with the chemical relaxers, the over styling and over processing. If you are coloring your hair on a frequent basis, now I color mine on a frequent basis, so that will apply to some of you. But in the coloring, it does sacrifice. You do pay the price for the coloring. It is going to take a toll on your hair, especially if you're not doing something to mitigate that toll on your hair. IamMelaninMagic.com helps keep your hair healthy. You're going to pay some sort of a price, but you likely are not going to be coloring your locks as much as you were coloring your hair before it was locked. So you consider the processing, whether you're using a hot comb or curling iron, or if you're blow drying your hair, all of the extra stuff that you may be putting on your hair. In addition to the products themselves, a lot of the products on the marketplace today that sit on top of the hair, that don't really nourish the hair, that have a lot of synthetic ingredients, those are things that also can take a toll on your hair. I am Melanin Magic, as can be the weight of what is required in styling your hair when you don't have, say, locks. Water is not something that is our friend anymore, unfortunately, insofar as we are accessing the water coming from the spigot on a regular basis. So it's chemically treated. It is sometimes slightly acidic, depending upon your water source and what you're doing with your hair. Not to mention all of the additives and all of the other synthetic ingredients that are put in our water. A lot of us don't drink it, so we need to be mindful that if we're using it on our hair, which many of us are, then it's also stripping your hair of some of the necessary moisture and the natural conditioners that you have. You have to replace that the same way you may take supplements for your health. But having the abundant hair growth closest to what is your natural hair growth cycle, and our hair does grow. It grows as fast as any other group, but we do many things that break it down, so we have to do things that also boost it and help build capacity for our hair. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is it's virtually work-free, meaning You're not getting up and having to do daily styling. You're not having to curl. You're not having to take out rollers. You saw this. I have a nice wave. I put 5 plaits in, which took me less than 5 minutes last night. And this is not going to last forever, but I wasn't in the mood to wet it and then do the small plaits for my braid out, or even do the pipe cleaners or the wrapper lock tool. I wasn't up to that. So it's work free. Is it totally work free? No. Notwithstanding the investigative stuff that you need to do to your hair on a regular basis, whether you're maintaining it or somebody else is maintaining it, there are lists of things that you need to be doing on a regular basis, so that long term, the cumulative effect of having this beautiful style does not become a detriment to you, and it does not become something that you remember as pulling your hair out or causing your hair to thin or for you to become bald. See some of the other videos on the channel where I talk a little bit more about some of the issues regarding hair loss, thinning, and so forth and so on. And by the way, I have quite a few pictures that I want to share at the end of people who have experienced some thinning and some hair loss from locks, from postpartum type sorts of things, and other things that have yet to be correlated to something that they are tangibly aware of, and how utilizing these 2 products has helped them immensely. I'm getting a lot of before and after pictures from you guys, and I want to appreciate that. I want to tell you, I appreciate you showing love that way and keeping in touch. Some of you are talking about just the hair growth and the way your hair feels and smells. Others of you are talking about hair growing in as a result of using these products. And as you know, this one, the Magical Hair Growth Serum, is a spot treatment. This is not something you want to put all over your hair, okay? It's a spot treatment. This is more medicinal. This is for your overall health. This can be used 2 to 3 times a week. It can be used more. This is going to help your hair growth. This is what I've been using these many years, okay? And my hair, honestly, is longer than this had I not had such an obsession with picking it, taking locks out, taking off 1 or 2 inches, especially in the front. I did more of that around the front because I had thicker locks initially in the front, and I wanted them to be thinned out. And so I had a frage to do that, and at other points I did that to fix bunching and a whole lot of other stuff. And naturally, when you begin to open these up, you lose a lot of hair length, and you lose thickness. All right. But then also picking the lint, which I used to do obsessively, has affected my locks. Those things are my fault, but they are making a mad comeback, and I'm cutting back on the color as well. And I'm continuing to use my Magical Hair Growth Serum on this side here, for something that I never even thought was problematic. I just figured I was born that way, but it's stimulating growth on this side of my head. And then I just use my serum, the regular hair oil on the regular. So next, it's a very attractive style, okay? This is the 5th thing. It's a very attractive style. It's a type of style that turns heads in the street. It's a type of style that when you see another sister's hair, you think, wow, those look good. It's a beautiful style. It gives you an abundance. It causes you to release worries related to hair, which means it raises your vibration. You feel better because you look better, as far as you may feel about what constitutes looking better, because that varies for everyone. But it's attractive. The locks are nice and small. They can be styled in many ways. The versatility is just about unmatched, with the exception of just having loose hair. But you can do a lot. You could cut a geometrical cut with your hair. You can roll them. Some people straighten them. I can't understand why, but you can do all sorts of things with your locks, and you're going to look good all the time. It's very attractive. It's professional. It's playful. It's professional casual. It's formal. It just meets every look requirement. You can do so much with it. So those are the 5 pros. Now let's get into real quick the 5 cons. These are some simple cons. Finding the right loctician. Huge, huge, huge. Ding, 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 ding. Huge. This is worth shopping for. You don't find the right one, you can't stay with that one. You need to find somebody who can do your hair, and you can get the results that you need to get. This is serious business. That's your biggest and most important investment outside of the locks actually is more important than the locks themselves, because over the long term you don't want to end up with someone who's doing your hair month after month after month, and they can see what you can't, and then a few years down the road when you have massive thinning, they're looking at you like, I think you better go see your dermatologist. You don't want that. Okay, you don't want someone who's heavy-handed, who is requiring you to get frequent retightenings that are unnecessary. The list goes on and on and on. Watch my video on finding the right loctician. Finding the right loctician is serious business. You should always have a backup. You should always have a backup. For me, you should never just depend on one person. Now, I'm moving. You guys know I'm going out to the country. I'm going into the middle of nowhere. And it's funny because I was thinking of going to Sandersville. And I told you I met a Sisterlocks lady at the post office in the middle of a street where, you know, the post office might have, I don't know, 2 or 3 people every hour. There's no self-serve kiosk. There's not all of that stuff like here in the metro Atlanta area. I met her. And I was really happy about that. I thought that was interesting. Now, where I'm moving now, I met a lady at a Dollar General who came up to me because of the locks, and she had traditional locks, and we were talking, and I was like, your locks look great. Where'd you get them done? And she was like, I do them. So in my mind, ding, 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 I'm thinking, okay, I don't need a Sisterlocks certified loctician person to do my retightenings, because I've done them on my own before, and Naima has helped me. She helped me with the ones back here. But also, my plan initially anyway, upon moving, after I researched what loctician consultants were in the area, was to find me a wonderful young person, an aspiring hairstylist or beautician or cosmetology student in the area high school. There's going to be plenty of them. As long as they're us, you're going to find young people who like to do hair, and to hire that person to do my hair and to show them how I want them to maintain my hair in between when I come back to the Atlanta area, because I'll be here frequently to run my business from the actual location, because I still have that location. Even though most of my business is being done online, I still want to keep that location. So I will still be coming back to the area, and on those days I'll need to schedule my loctician's appointments with Efraj or either NACA. But I never like to be left high and dry, so I either need to have a backup where I am, or I need to be prepared to do my own on a regular basis. And this, y'all, I'm not prepared to do on a regular basis. I'm just not. So that's a backup. So when I saw her name is Kelvina, when I saw her, and she said she used to do hair. Ding, 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 ding. She did hair a lot, but then it used to start to bother her hands. So my thought was, okay, I can do the front, she can do the back, or would you be willing to let me show you how to do my hair, and I'll pay you a nice compensation to maintain my hair. So my point is that, you do need to be able to find the right loctician. You do need to invest in that. Whatever your standard is, some of you need to have a Sisterlocks consultant person maintain your hair. I'm not stuck on that. I'm not stuck on that at all. I was never stuck on that. You guys know I'm a nonconformist. I do what I want to do with my hair. I don't let people tell me what I can't do. I'm studying this the way I study in the lab. So I'm going to do what's best for me. So for me, that's important. For you, it's important whether you're doing your hair or you're looking for a consultant, a trainee, or someone else. You got to find the right person. It's the biggest investment you can make. Number 2, vigilance. This is considered a con in the sense that, not that there's anything wrong with being vigilant and knowing what you need to know about your hair, but it's a con because it's something you wouldn't assume you needed to do. This is a lifestyle. This is not getting individual braids and taking them out and getting a different protective style the next month. This is something you're committing to for the long haul. So you need to be involved in the care and maintenance of your hair, even though you have a loctician. This is not something that you leave to your loctician. As far as I'm concerned, you don't leave anything in your life that is of importance to someone else and turn your back and forget. That's like putting your kids in the teacher's classroom, and just because they say they're T5 certified, you don't think you have to check on what they're learning in class and the quality of the instruction. Anything that is an investment to you, and certainly your locks are, certainly your personal health and wellness is, you have to be attuned to what's happening with it. You have to check your locks. You have to unmarry them on a regular basis. You have to look for potential signs of thinning. You have to canvas this on a regular basis and feel in here for loose tiny pieces of hair that may not be associated with your natural growth cycle. You have to look for areas where locks have thinned, maybe because of the pulling from the tool or tangling or something, because these are not the things that unfortunately your locticians are going to tell you about on an everyday basis. It's one thing if you schedule an appointment time to go in and sit down and say, okay, I need you to tell me what the health of my hair is. I want you to look through the locks, tell me what I need to do in terms of maintenance. Let me know where I have thinning. Let me know where maybe my parts aren't as straight. Let me know this, let me know that. They don't have that service. That's something that you might want to request though, because typically when they are doing your hair, they are doing your hair. You all know people have tunnel vision. And unless you're a full service provider and that's the way you operate ethically in terms of being a business owner, you don't really readily give, they don't really readily give advice and do a walkthrough over your hair and tell you what's going on. A lot of them don't. Some of them may do this, and if you have one that does this, this is beautiful. But the onus is on you to take ownership over your hair and know what is going on with your locks, and that takes time. Okay, the next thing I have on here, at some point you may really need to transition to becoming self-reliant, or at least knowing how to. This is big. You don't see this going in. You don't see this going in because you don't think of ever having to maintain these. And you may not be a hair person, but it is, I feel, on some level, essential that you play with your hair enough and that you practice maybe retightening 1 or 2 locks, not at the front, but somewhere in this area with a craft needle or a crochet needle or a similar Sisterlocks tool or something else that you can get your hands on, because even when you look at what has happened in the last year and 3/4 of a year with this, the health situation that we are dealing with, the crisis in this country, in the beginning, many people couldn't get to their retightenings. And many people had no idea how to do a retightening, but there are a lot of reasons. Moving is just another one. There are a lot of reasons why you may not be able to get your retightening either on time or get it from the person that you're used to, and maybe that person moves, or maybe something happens with that person's health and you're out there and you don't have a backup, or you can't get to another city, or you do have a backup but that person appointment schedule is a month or 2 out. Listen, there are too many reasons why, and this is a lifestyle. This is not something you're just playing with. This is not something you're planning on taking out. So you need to have a plan. You need to have some idea as to how to maintain your own hair, or how to be self-reliant if you absolutely had to. Because the reality is, to go too long without maintaining these is going to cause breakage. Because they are so small, you can't just roll like you would traditional locks unless you decide to combine several locks and just let them, convert over into traditional locks. So this is serious. Not to mention the fact that I've had sisters contact me who have a lot of thinning and they're getting ready to take their locks out. And if that were me, that wouldn't be my first course of action. There are some things that I would try on my own. One sister had the beautician tell her, or the loctician tell her, that she needed to continue getting the retightenings. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to continue to get the retightenings at the same schedule that you would have been doing them if I'm starting to lose hair. Because you may start losing it in this area. These are getting ready to break too, but you can't see this right now. Just like you didn't see this before this was starting to happen. You could have a systemic issue, not systemic, but systemic in terms of your hair, in terms of hair loss all across the board. So there may be some other things that you can do, like beef up what you're doing internally in terms of taking vitamins, beef up what you're doing externally in terms of building your hair strength so that you experience less fallout from whatever is happening. Switch up your retightenings, do a different quality of retightening, okay, which is something that you can do because you care about what's happening to your hair. It's not the hardest thing to take some real fragile areas and retighten those areas yourself. Stop the styling. There are a lot of things that you can do, and I'll talk more about that later to help mitigate hair loss. Actually, I think I want to do a video on some of the things you can do besides cutting these out or taking them out if you're experiencing some hair loss. Talk myself right into that one, but that's a biggie right there. All right. being self-reliant, which takes me to number 4, the hair loss due to having these. I am differentiating that statement from hair loss due to stress, hair loss due to hormonal issues, hair loss due to genetic issues, postpartum hair loss. That's not what I'm talking about. That is the track that they want to steer you into when they don't want to take responsibility for what this hairstyle can cause if you don't, number 1, find the right loctician, and number 2, exercise vigilance over your lock journey. They will steer you on this track. Now, this sister that I was talking to, and I've talked to several, the Sisterlocks people referred her to their trichologist program, I think it is. Excuse me if I'm wrong. This I keep saying I'm going to do more research on that. I'm gathering informally, but I haven't done the formal research, but I will, and I will bring that to you. Wants to charge her $1,000 a month. Ding, 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 ding. You don't need to pay that a month. What you need to do is get your hair healthy and change the way you treat your hair. You don't need to pay somebody $1,000 a month, I don't think. I feel that there are other things that you can do, or I feel that prior to forking out that kind of money for those few services that I was told this person was going to be getting, I would try some other things first and wait for those things to take hold and show benefit prior to doing 6 months of $1,000 a month. I think that's a bit extreme, on top of the other things that you are going to be doing as a part of that program. All right, so that piece about being vigilant, that piece about safeguarding yourself against the hair loss that you can experience, which I feel is due to trauma. Same type of trauma, y'all, we've been experiencing since the beginning of time, which are from styles being pulled too tight, the hair follicles dying off and not regenerating because of stress, and locks are no different. I don't care whether you have traditional locks. I don't care if you have cornrows. I don't care if you have braids. I don't care if you have, I remember there was a time when we used to get our hair braided into individuals. You could walk into any shop where you had African women or women from the Caribbean or women from other areas, and they had this much of their hair that was lost because they were wearing those braids all the time, and they'd be pulled so doggone tight that the hair would start back here, and it was just something we got used to. And we sat right down in the chair to have the same service done to us as tight, and then go home for 2 weeks and experience this as if there's nothing wrong with that level of discomfort and pain. With this, it's more insidious because it's more subtle, and it happens repeatedly on schedule. And oftentimes, if you don't have the pain that you may be associating with some of this kind of trauma, you may still think your hair is okay. And I'm going to say it's not, because there's a lot of friction that you encounter when your hair is being done, even when it's being done gently. So you have to be on top of what are the things that you can do to safeguard against that, to help things that you can do in tandem with your retightenings to help minimize the impact of constant retightenings over and over and over and over again that may not be ideal. And this is not a criticism for all retightenings, okay? But I'm talking about the hidden risks of perpetual retightenings over time without regard to the sensitivities and the things that we need to take a look at. This is getting too long. The last thing I want to talk about is some of the challenges related to the precautions that you need to take, the things that take a little more time, or some of the things that you may have to give up that you may not be thinking of on the front end, such as the braiding and banding that you need to do, that the Sisterlocks folks recommend you do, which is wonderful. You need to definitely do that. You need to do that if you have micro braids. You need to do braiding and banding. But the braiding and banding is something a lot of people don't want to take time to do. They stop doing it after the first year. I did it for several years. All right, and even my hair continued to swell. So for me, until they really started to compress like they do now and grow in the way they do, I needed to braid and band because it would expand like this. Now when I color, it expands even more. But the braiding and banding, the coloring, being willing to give up this preference for coloring that you may have, and maybe consider getting it done a lot less, or getting it done before you get your locks, or putting a rinse over a color that you have. And I talk about that in some of my dyeing your Sisterlocks videos. That's something that you want to consider. The type of styling. I see people with sister locks still braiding them and corn rolling them and putting them in updos. You can do that. That's beautiful. But you want to be careful of the frequency in which you do that, because that takes a toll on your hair. It takes a toll. All right. Tight styles, the frequency of the retightenings, everything that goes into the maintenance of the locks. Do you need oil or not? Watch my to oil or not video. Do you need oil in your locks or not? More than likely you need some type of something to help support your journey. If you start experiencing hair loss and you never put oil on your hair and they're fully locked, consider doing that. Just remember that whatever you're using, when you do wash your hair, do a thorough wash. Don't do what I used to do for 7 or 8 years, which was wash one time and be done. All right, you do need to wash thoroughly. All right, I hope this video gave you some sort of information. I'm going to now transition into an oracle card. I got a deck yesterday, y'all, that I really like. What I don't like is there are not enough melanated beings. So when not enough, there's one black guy in the lock in the thing, and if it wasn't for that, I was feeling some kind of way, and I was like, okay, I paid too much for this deck, and I don't want to put ugly energy on it because I want to be using it and I want to feel good about it. And at that moment, I saw one black guy and I was like, okay, well, you didn't fail. You got a D. But, you know, decks and things that we produce today, I feel like need to be representative of the people who will be using them. And if they're not representative of the people who will be using them and they have faces of people and it looks like they went out of their way to just find non-melanated, they are melanated, but Caucasian people or people of European ancestry, then I have to say to, you know, it almost seems like it's a deliberate attempt. Now, while we need decks that represent us and we haven't had them, I don't say the same thing if I see an all black deck, because there are not enough of them out here on the market, although they're increasingly becoming more and more and more. And I've got to think, I think this person's name is Imani, but these are beautiful decks, okay? But the thing is, even within our decks, you find some diversity. And by the way, I'm developing a tarot deck. It's going to be a long time. There are only 3 cards that are ready at this point. So it's going to be a year or 2 in the making. But we need more of us. But this is a deck, and it's a relationship deck. So if you are not having issues in your relationship, or you're not looking for relationship advice, you might want to go ahead and click off. I want to pull 4 cards and just talk about whatever messages comes up. Thank you guys for sitting with me today. Thank you guys for going the distance with me today. Thank you all for allowing me to serve you. And thank you for giving back, those of you who give back in the way of comments, likes, shares. Some of you purchase the oils. Many of you do. Many of you have purchased my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, and added that to your healing library. You know, you can get that on Amazon. Some of you book readings. Shout out to my sister Lotus. I think I see you today at 3:30, beloved. So just want to pull a few cards and let's just see what messages come up. Now, that could be relationship. Then again, it may not be. All right. Know that everything that happens in this universe, not a leaf falls from this tree without permission from the forces that be, from the creator. All right. These cards hit the table just as synchronistically for a person who may be needing guidance or looking for something at the right time. So we have 4 cards. Now, at the bottom, we have trust your intuition. This is going to be my main message to you. If you're feeling some kind of way about a relationship or a situation pertaining to someone you love, now, okay, it could be a lover, it could be a husband, it could be a boyfriend who's a lover. It can be a child in your household. So take the messages and apply them accordingly and extrapolate. If this card, for example, flings, okay, you know you're not dealing with a problem with your husband, but you're dealing with some issues with your daughter or your son, and this card comes up and you've been wondering if they're having sex and they're sexually active. Well, this card of flings, this would be a yes, but we're not talking about a relationship between 2 married people or 2 lovers. So but we're applying it. So that's what I mean when I say extrapolate. Okay, so we have here, y'all, trust your intuition. Now this is very clear. We have the player card and we have the flings card. So if you're dealing with someone who you have been having some sort of misgiving about, or getting a hunch, or an intuitive hit about it, and you're wondering, is this person playing me? Is this person being unfaithful? Are they keeping their options open? Are they pursuing other people? This is going to be a yes. If you've been feeling that way, you already know. This requires you not need the proof. Okay, because you have the proof. Your spiritual eye, your intuition is going to be sharper than your physical eyes. Our physical eyes deceive us. In fact, what we see with our physical eyes is cause us to dispute this. We can be getting a clear yes about something intuitively, but because our eyes don't show us and we listening to the person who may be saying I love you and who may be doing all the right things and in denial, all right, we don't worry about what we feel. Okay, but those days are changing. Our spiritual insight is becoming more and more invasive into our lives as a way to help us to connect with what are our spiritual sight. And so we need to listen to that. We have player. I'm choosing to keep an emotional distance and play the field. This person is showing some type of emotional distance because they're looking at other people, or they are pursuing other options, or there's something in between you and that person. And 9 times out of 10, what comes between two people is a third person. Almost all the time. We have flings. I've been sleeping around, sometimes like one night stands. Now you're extrapolating. This may not be someone that has a sexual addiction, but this is saying to you that this person is something you need to look further into. Okay, and then we have forever change, and we have solitude. And let's look at the messages here. All right, I'm taking a break from everyone and spending some time alone. You've changed my life without even trying. The old me is dead and gone. I'm going to clarify this card. But with this solitude card, you could be feeling like you're alone, or you need some time alone, or you could be feeling like this person is pulling away. And you could be feeling like they're needing more time alone, and you're wondering why you can't reach them, or why all of a sudden there's this space, this emotional space. It could be some type of physical space. I just saw the Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands. This person is in and out sexually. They're led sometimes by their private parts. Okay, this is the card of juggling. Okay, going back and forth sometimes depending upon the context of the reading. And I saw the Two of Pentacles, which is my card of imbalance, juggling, going back and forth. So again, that's more confirmation. That Knight of Wands person is somebody that feels so good, but a lot of times they're in it for a good time, not a long time. This is somebody who's inconsistent. Okay, one day they're one way, the next day they're another way. Now we have this forever change card. Okay, this person may have changed your life. Okay, for the better or for the good or the better. We have the old me is dead and gone. So maybe you are not trusting this person anymore, and the old you, who has been the gullible you, the one who did not listen to their intuition, maybe that person is dead and gone. Who knows? I want to clarify. But you apply that message how it lands on you. And I know I need to close this out. We're at 42 minutes. I want to thank you all for your patience. Yep, here we go. Look at that. Lover's card reverse and the Nine of Pentacles. Some type of relationship problems. This is somebody who is not single but is acting single, or somebody who's in a relationship but wants to be single. This is my card of a single life, independence, doing your own thing. If in the context of the relationship reading, this is not what you want to see, because this is someone who feels like they can do whatever they want to do. There are some relationship problems here with this Lover's card reverse. Now, even if it was right side up, we're still talking about a decision being made or needing to be made between two choices or more. So somebody is on the fence about something and not necessarily being honest with you. If the reading resonates with you, it's because you already feel this intuitively. Then take it. If it doesn't, maybe it's related to something else in your life where a choice needs to be made because you feel some sort of betrayal is going on, or there's something that is dishonest. You're with Tanisha Ali of Tanisha's Locs, Beauty Tips and Potpourri. If you want more spiritual videos or videos where we pull guidance like this, and we're starting to talk more about manifesting love, dating, and things of that nature, see me on my Butterfly Transformations channel, because spirituality is everything and everything really is spiritual. See you on the flip side.